says on air. Hey everyone, my name is Russ Terry. I'm founder and CEO of Life Coach Radio Networks, and I'm super excited to be training a couple of my new hosts today. And let's go ahead and get started and show you how to run a show on the Life Coach Radio Network. So let me share my screen with you. Share. All right, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so the first thing you're going to do when you go to Blog Talk Radio is just go to blogtalkradio.com. And then, actually, let me go into Facebook. So we have, in our Life Coach Radio hosts group, we have a bunch of files in the files section, including the usernames and passwords to get into the network. So if you click on Files, then we're going to page down to LCRN's usernames and passwords, which is rather far down. It's from June 2014. So you can just click on that, and I'm just going to hit preview. And within the Life Coach Radio Networks, we have 3 different networks. Life Coach Radio Network, which is our flagship channel, or ESPN, if you will, and then 2 other stations which are equal to that, International Life Coach Radio and Life Coach Chat channel. The way our plan with Blog Talk Radio works, we can have 1 show per network per day. So a little later in the training, I'm going to walk you through our Google Drive calendar, which helps us organize who is going to be on what network, at what time, etc. So to log on to Blog Talk Radio, you just come here, get one of these usernames. When we get to the calendar, that's how we'll determine which of the networks you're on, LCRN, ILCR, or LCCC, the abbreviations for the 3, and then the password's the same, Russ Terry. Also, our Twitter login info is in this same document. So our show tonight is going to be on Life Coach Radio Network. So I'm already logged in, but let me just log out so I can show you. So to log in, you're going to scroll over Login in the upper right. And for me, because I go in here all the time, I just have to hit L and Life Coach Radio Network comes up. It's not case sensitive, but it's obviously easier to look at with LCRN capitalized. And then the password is Russ Terry, all lowercase. Remember me on this computer and sign in. And by the way, I can't see you once I'm showing you stuff because I'm on this screen. So if you have any questions, just holler out, hey Russ, I have a question. I'll pause every 3 to 5 minutes or so just to make sure there aren't any questions. All right, so the first thing is to create a show. So to create a show, you're going to scroll to the upper right, the icon that says Life Coach Radio Network, and then go down to Create. Now, there are 2 options for what to create. You can either create a broadcast, which is a live show, which is the overwhelming majority of our content. It's broadcast live and then automatically archived as a podcast for people to listen to at their convenience, which is super awesome. There are some situations where if you have a regular show and you're not free to do it at your regular day and time, you can do it as an upload. So you can pre-record it using some kind of pre-recorded device, and there's information on that in terms of what online tools you can use, whether freeconferencecall.com or something else. But if for whatever reason you have to do it as an upload, not a live show, but a pre-recorded show, you would click Upload here. I'm going to show you how to do the broadcast because that's the overwhelming majority of the way we have our shows. But if you ever need to do an upload, just go back to the Life Coach Radio host page and click on the Files section, and you'll see information for your LCRN's pre-recorded episode instructions. All right, so we're going to create broadcast. At your scheduled time, you just leave that selected. You're going to choose the date because it's today that we're doing the training, the live show. I'm going to leave it as is. For the time, I'm going to pick 6:30 p.m. So we're going to go on the air in a little bit. And then for duration. So if you have an hour show, you want to actually pick 90 minutes as your duration for the show. The reason for that is if you pick 60 minutes for a 60-minute show, it'll count you down in your ear as you are in the last 5 minutes. So 5 minutes remaining, 4 minutes remaining, and that can be distracting when you're trying to say something or listen to your guest say something, etc. So for a 60-minute show, pick 90 minutes. For us, I'm going to leave it at 15 minutes. Believe it or not, the studio is really quick and simple, so you don't need to, we don't need to be in there longer than 15 minutes. All right, so this feature here actually is new. Invite up to 5 guests or co-hosts to the studio recording. Separate email addresses with commas. So I'm just going to click on how information or how invitations work. This feature will send email invitations to your VIPs to connect in Hi-Fi via a guest co-host version of the studio. All they need to do is connect. To connect, is click a link to the guest studio and follow simple on-screen instructions to connect. You can invite, so this totally looks new, you can invite up to N VIP guests. So I guess they meant to fill that in later. But wow, that's cool. That's awesome. So I learned something new today, isn't that cool? All right, so for the title, basically what you want is a catchy title of what the show is about with your title and your name. So when I had the show, I had Live Your Best Life with life coach Russ Terry. I also had the Russ Terry Show. Renee, you mentioned you have a name for your show already. That's excellent. So you would have the title of the show with life coach Renee Ellison, you know, whatever you call yourself. So for the purposes of this, I want to say training episode because that's what this is. I don't want somebody to think it's an actual show. So then in detailed description, you're going to put one short paragraph on what the show is about, one short paragraph bio of you, and one short paragraph bio of any guests you have. The character count goes quickly in this detailed description field. So you'll see that just those 3 short lines took up 141 characters. We have 2,000 characters for this field. So usually what I recommend is do it in Word, copy it in, see if it fits. If not, shorten it in Word, copy it back in. If you're close to 2,000, it may be under 2,000, but for some strange reason not work. So just keep that in mind. You may need to be in the 1950 or so range. All right, so any questions so far on how to get in, how to create, date, time, duration, title, or description?
No, pretty good right now for me.
Clear.
Excellent. All right, so the next part is the tags. So here you will just enter in certainly your name, coaching, life coaching, entrepreneurs, whatever is a relevant tag, just like you were writing a blog or wanting keywords in on your website, etc. The guest name, if the guest has written a book or something like that, etc. So you can have, I would say 7 to 10 is good, but if you have more, that's totally awesome too. Visibility, you'd leave it as public, but I'm going to make this private because, again, we don't want our viewers watching this episode. It's not relevant for them. Next up is advanced options. So here in the browse field, you can upload pictures or graphics from your computer to play while the show is on. So people listen to the show primarily by listening on their computer if they're listening live. And this gives them at least some scrolling things to look at. So I am gonna pick my headshot and put that in here. So you would put your headshot in here. There's an LCRN's logo. Put that in here. Those are both on my computer. I'm going to show you again in the Life Coach Radio Hosts group in the Files section. You can see where the LCRN's logo is. It's this LCRN's 2013 JPEG and LCRN's logo 001. You can use either of those. So again, just go to the file section in the Facebook group and save it to your computer so you can easily upload it. Some people create fun graphics for a show. You're certainly more than welcome to do that. In terms of startup audio, so all our episodes are sponsored by Audible.com, which is very amazing. And this is our startup audio for every episode. So just leave that as is. And in terms of category, our default is self-help, but you can scroll through the different categories to see if there's something better. So under business, there's entrepreneur. You can select that. Within self-help, there's self-help, goals, motivation, relationships, etc. So feel free to peruse that and pick what you want. I'm just going to leave it as self-help for now. And that's it. So before I click Create Episode, any questions on the tags, these advanced options, or anything else?
Do you, like, this is episode promotion. Would you promote that? Like when you post, you create the episode now, because I've seen some coaches go and promote it in Facebook. Is that via this, or they did it on their own?
Excellent question. Definitely do it on your own.
Okay.
The reason I say that, and this is very important, if you remember one thing from this training, remember this, that when you click episode promotion on Blog Talk Radio's website, it's going to link your personal Facebook or Twitter to Blog Talk Radio, our Blog Talk Radio account.
Okay.
So what'll happen, and this happened a month or two ago, is there was a host that did that, and then because he did it, somehow somebody else's show got promoted on his personal Facebook. So he clicked this and linked his Facebook to our Blog Talk Radio channel, and then somebody else clicked episode promotion and it got promoted on his personal Facebook page, which, as you can imagine, is strange for him, it's strange for his followers, it's strange for the host who was promoted on his page. So yes, promote it, and I'll show you how to promote it, but don't do it via Blog Talk.
Okay, awesome.
Great question. All right, Renee, any questions?
Yeah, is this something that's done prior to the show, immediately prior?
No, also an excellent question. So you want to create the show at least 1 week before the episode. That's a good best practice. That way, you have enough time to promote it to the people in your network. So you can promote it via Facebook event invite, email, an evite, all those various ways, your monthly newsletter or whatever, which reminds me I need to do mine today. Yeah, so you would create it in the perfect scenario at least a week in advance.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, great question. All right, so any other questions before we click Create Episode?
No.
All right, so I am going to create episode. And your episode was created, so you can click on Training Episode to bring up the show page that people will see by tuning in. So the title of the show is Training Episode on Life Coach Radio Network. The call-in number to speak with the host is there. The pictures are there for them to scroll through, the tags, the description, etc. So this link, each of our shows is a unique URL. So it's based on which network it's on, the date, and then the title of the show. So what you would do to promote this show is just click copy in the search bar field, and then let's say you go to your Facebook, you could create a Facebook event. Let's see, events, create, and then, you know, my radio show debut or something like that. Join me, da da da. Here's the link to listen. Where I always put your computer. One thing with events, it defaults to private event and you want to make it public. So just click up here at the top and change it to create public event. And then, you know, when the time, 6:30 p.m. end time 7:30 p.m. And create. I'm not going to create it because obviously it isn't something I want to create or invite people to, but this is how you would do it. And then usually Facebook will let you invite 500 or 600 people. The easiest way to do it is via any groups or pages you're in or events that you went to that you want to invite the other invitees. So if you want further help on that, I can walk you through that later. All right, any question on the Facebook event invite? All right.
I mean, if you... Oh.
Go ahead, Antonina.
It's like echoing.
Say that again.
I just, if we can talk about the group, like, I didn't know how to invite all, like, versus inviting people individually versus inviting.
Yes, so I'm going to cancel out of this then. Let me go into one of the shows or one of the things I'm hosting. So there's the radio show I have tomorrow night, the LCRN Tribute to Dads. So if I click on invite here, I already invited maybe about 300 or 400 people. So because of that, I have 131 invites left. So if I want to invite all of these friends here, I could hit select all, but I don't want to do that because then it'll trigger to Facebook that I'm inviting more than the max.
Yeah.
So let's go with, I could click on New York, New York. They're 766, so because of that, it doesn't give me a select all option. PwC is where I used to work. I already did select all for here. This was 33 people.
Awesome. I see.
Okay, so you got it now.
Yeah, once you create the group, then you can go back into the group and invite select all. Okay.
Exactly. So
Awesome.
you just scroll here through here, events I hosted, and you can invite all those invitees. So you can either select all on those who attended or select all on all guests.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so
Question.
go for it, Renee.
What happens if you invite more than the max?
I think the way it works is it triggers Facebook that you're inviting a mass amount of people, and Facebook would rather you promote the event by, you know, paying them to promote the event. So it almost triggers less invites that you're allowed to make with Facebook. Like my invites didn't used to be limited, so I could invite all 2,000 of my Facebook friends. Now it's limited to 500 or 600. You see 939 here because either Trina or Lisa Marie invited all of her people, probably Trina because that's who I'm co-hosting it with. She invited all of her people, so between my 400, her 500 or 600, we got to the 939. So yeah, I would just try to avoid reaching the max, but that said, I usually try to get close to the max. Perfect. Good questions. All right, so now let's go back to Blog Talk Radio just to see where the episode is if you have to make edits. So obviously this one was very brief in terms of the tags, the description, etc. So let's go to, you're going to hover over the icon in the upper right and then scroll down to episodes. And there are different tabs here at the top, either all time, upcoming, or archived. So we're going to go into upcoming. Well, actually, so here, let me show you a few things. So this all time, you can see many of our shows, usually once they're in the archive, have 100 to 100 plus views or listens, if you will. You can see here that it gives you the stats on our archive listeners, our live listeners, number of callers. As you can see, 80 to 90% of our listeners are via the archive. So that means people are listening either on their phone via the podcast or on their computer via the archived version. But obviously it's great to have live listeners too, so that's why the Facebook event is important. That way you can have callers, etc. You can sort it just by upcoming and just by archived if you want. But let's see, if we wanted to edit the training episode for tonight, you would just go to this pencil on the right-hand side and click Edit Episode Info. And then it brings us back to the screen that we were at a little while ago when we created it. Any questions on that?
No.
All right, so let's go into the studio. To get to the studio and to get anywhere on blogtalkradio.com, you hover over the upper right and then scroll down to Studio. So here is the studio. Now, there is one slight difference in our networks. Life Coach Radio Network and Life Coach Chat Channel have this direct connect feature. So it enables you to connect to the show through your computer. The sound quality is higher. These are our two highest rated networks. So Blog Talk Radio reached out to us and said, hey, we would love to give you this direct connect feature. So most of our episodes are on Life Coach Radio Network or Life Coach Chat Channel. However, we still have International Life Coach Radio, and if a certain day of the week is not open on the other two, then we have a show on International Life Coach Radio. So for International Life Coach Radio, instead of using this direct connect feature to connect via your computer, you call in to the host call in here, and then enter the host PIN, and then press 1 to start your show. You'll see me do the direct connect feature in a couple minutes. That eliminates the need to call in and enter the PIN. We would just press 1 to start the show. Also, again, this invite guests and co-hosts feature is new, so I'm learning it myself. It looked like in that when we created the show that you enter somebody's email address. So let's just click on invite guests / co-hosts. Who else do you want to invite to connect? Separate email addresses with commas. So it looks like now the co-hosts can also get on the show via direct connect, which I'm just grabbing a pen to write this down because I want to share this with the team on tonight's all hands call. So direct connect for co-hosts. Okay, so once we are 15 minutes or less until the episode, it'll let us connect either by dialing in or direct connect. So now that we are there, I'm going to click on direct connect.
Our menu has recently changed. Please listen carefully to the new prompts before making your selection. To start your show now, press 1 to hear important.
Your show is scheduled to start in 14 minutes, 21 seconds.
All right, so I just minimized that. You'll see me on the switchboard on the left-hand side pop up.
13 minutes until showtime.
There I am, and it automatically makes your mic active or red or hot, if you will. So it just identifies me as Life Coach Radio Network host. Now I'm going to pretend that I am the guest on the show. So from my landline, I'm going to call the guest call-in number in the upper right, 646.
Your show is scheduled to start in 13 minutes, 34 seconds. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
So it doesn't tell you this, but as your guest, you want them to press 1. That will indicate that they're in the host queue.
13 minutes until showtime.
So now you see I'm in the host queue. I'm going to call this guest. You can type in here in the switchboard who the person is so you can keep track of them. So before I show you more, any questions up until this point, either how to get in the studio, how to connect once you're in the studio, how to call in as a guest.
I did have a question, Russ.
Go for it, Renee.
When you pressed direct connect, you pressed it from your computer.
Yes.
But then you pressed 1. Where did you press the 1?
Also on my computer, a little thing came up, and let me see if it's, oh, here it is. This little thing came up. So
12 minutes until showtime.
Actually, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but a little screen comes up. No, it doesn't look like you can see it. But a little keyboard comes up that looks like a phone, and you just press 1 on there. So,
Okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
But you also
Antonina.
sorry, you said for the user, they like when you were calling in from your landline, it doesn't tell you to press 1 to get in the queue. So how would they know that?
You know what, Antonina, it's a little hard to hear you. Can you turn your volume up just a little bit, or maybe be closer to the mic?
Can you hear me now? No?
I can hear you, just faintly.
Okay, so
Oh, much better.
yeah, you had mentioned when you were calling from your landline.
Minutes until showtime.
You mentioned that when you were calling from your landline that you as the user had to press 1 to go into the queue, but it didn't tell you to do that.
Correct. So we just know that. So what I tell listeners who are on listening to the show, I'll say, hey, if you want to join the discussion, give us a ring, 646-716-9397. So that guest call-in number is both for prearranged guests and people who are listening live who want to join the discussion. So for any of them, I would say press 1 so we know you want to speak to us.
Okay.
All right, so the next thing I want to show you is how to make the guest mic active.
10 minutes until showtime.
Active or hot. So basically what you do is you come over here to the left-hand side, the first column, this microphone, they are presently on mute, which is the second column here. So you're going to click on the first column, and this makes their mic active. So if for whatever reason you heard background noise, you could mute them during the show while you were saying something or while someone else is saying something or until they get the background noise situation figured out. So you basically, I usually have them as live for the entire program unless there's something major going on that you need to resolve. Any questions on that?
9 minutes until showtime.
So you said you leave it not muted the whole time so you can hear all of your listeners or the people that are calling in?
Yeah, so if it's a prearranged guest, you probably want to leave their mic active the entire time because you'll be having a back and forth discussion with them. All right, so let's say this person is a caller and not a guest. So about every 10 or 15 minutes during the show, you want to say to your listeners, hey, if you want to join the discussion, give us a ring, 646-716-9397. Oh, I see we have a caller. Caller from the 201 area code. Make sure your computer is on mute. And what's your name and where are you calling from? So basically, I always tell them to make sure their computer's on mute. That way we don't hear them in an echo and they hear us live. And as I am saying that,
minutes until showtime.
as I'm saying that, I make their mic active. So caller with the 201 area code, make sure your computer's on mute. What's your name and where are you calling from? So I ask them a good closed-ended question that helps start their time on the show in an efficient manner. And then after that, when they would say, it's Russ Terry calling in from Jersey, it's Russ calling in from Jersey City, New Jersey, I would say, great, Russ, thanks for joining. What's your comment or question? So another direct question to them that gets them to answer something directly. So I don't really ask, how are you doing today? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it just kind of helps the live broadcast move along quicker. And then you have the discussion with them. It'll have its arc, once in a great while, you may have somebody who is
7 minutes until showtime.
super long-winded and or a crank caller. We've probably had 2 or 3 crank callers in our 2+ years on the air. So if it's a crank caller, you can just, actually I'm going to fix this. If it's a crank caller, you can just hit this X, which will hang up on them right away. If it's a long-winded person, what I've done in the past is have my finger here on the mute button, and then the nanosecond they come up for air, I click on that, and I'll say, all right, well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate all your comments. And then I would just move on to my next point. So that way it makes it seamless that you're not cutting them off, but you're cutting them off because it's our show, not their show. Any questions on any of that?
Now, Russ, what if you have a guest? 6 minutes until showtime.
So, good question, Renee. If you have a guest and a caller, so let's say Antonina wanted to call in as the caller. So Antonina, if your phone is there, you could call at 646-716-9397, that number in the upper right. Is your phone handy, Antonina?
Yeah, I'm calling it right now.
Awesome. And if you want to put it on speaker, then Renee can hear what it sounds like.
Radio. Your show is scheduled to start in 5 minutes, 35 seconds. Welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Please hold and you will be able to listen to the show.
So again, it doesn't tell you, but you can press 1 if you want to talk to the host. So, all right. So I see we have a caller.
5 minutes until showtime.
So caller with the 646 area code, make sure your computer is on mute. What's your name and where are you calling from? And then we hear the echo because people are talking.
Yeah, because
how a caller would appear. So basically, I mean, we've had shows where we've had a number of callers. They just keep lining up here in the switchboard. They keep going down the left-hand side of the screen. Great question, Renee. All right. Any other questions here on the studio?
no. Can I hang up?
So our show is going to start in about 5 minutes or so. I'm just going to
4 minutes until showtime.
pull up the agenda for what I wanted to go over with you. I may go over something else quick in the meantime. So let's see here. We did the introductions, how to create a show, how to run a live show. We'll talk about the calendar. How to promote shows on after yours. So let's scroll away. I'm just going to create a different tab. So one of the things you'll do at approximately the halfway point of your show or at the end point is promote the shows on after yours. So whatever show's on the next day or the day after that or whatever. So you go to blogtalkradio.com, click on the icon in the upper right.
3 minutes until showtime.
Scroll down to episodes. You could click on upcoming, but I can see, okay, today's 6:30, tomorrow is 7/1. So let me promote this show. So I'm going to click on the show title. And I'm going to say something to the effect of, and if you're enjoying tonight's broadcast, be sure to tune in tomorrow, Wednesday, July 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for the Life Coach Radio Network's tribute to dads who are solid as a rock contest winners. We recently had a Father's Day contest, and tomorrow night we're going to have a really special episode where we are interviewing all of the dads who won and the lovely ladies who nominated them. So join myself, Russ Terry, founder and CEO here at the Life Coach Radio Networks, and Trina
2
Ramsey,
minutes until showtime.
our executive producer of special projects, as we have this powerful interview with these really incredible dads. Again, that's tomorrow night, July 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on blogtalkradio.com/Life Coach Radio Network. That's blogtalkradio.com/Life Coach Radio Network. Make sense? Any questions on that? All right, so for something like that, because I've been in TV and radio, I'm very comfortable just doing that on the fly by pulling it up. For some people, they like to create a little script for that. And again, it can be just a few sentences. So whatever your personal preference is, feel free to go that route. All right, one other quick thing, and I
1 minute until showtime.
learned this lesson the hard way. You want to make sure that you don't have your show page open during your episode, because if so, it will play the show in the background. So by the show page, I mean this, which I'm going to click on it momentarily if we can get there in the next few seconds. When you click on training episode, the title here, it brings up the show page. We don't want that because then it'll play the show in the background and you'll hear an echo in your ears, which obviously we don't want that. So just wanted to point that out. You want to make 100% sure you don't have this screen up, the actual show episode. All right, so now we're in the studio, and we're going to automatically go on the air in a few seconds, and you'll hear the audible show
Your show
open.
will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Russ Terry, founder and CEO of Life Coach Radio Networks. Today's sponsor is Audible.com, a leading provider of spoken audio and information. Listen to audiobooks whenever and wherever you want. Get a free audiobook when you sign up for a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/lifecoachradio. That's audibletrial.com/lifecoachradio. And now, here's today's show. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Russ Terry, founder and CEO here at the Life Coach Radio Networks. I'm with a couple of my new talented colleagues today, showing them how to run a live episode. We are super excited to be with you today. If you'd like to join our discussion, give us a ring. The guest call-in number is 646-716-9397. That's 646-716-9397. Just press 1 and let us know that you would like to join the discussion. All right, let me bring in my first co-host of the day, etc. So then you get into, if you have 2 guests, you would introduce them individually, one right after the other. If you have 1 guest, you would just bring that person on. I usually do it somewhat in the beginning unless there are things I want to share before I bring that person on. So it's kind of a personal preference thing. And now the show is up and running. So the actual starting of the episode is really easy, and I'm trying not to oversimplify that, but it is on the simple side. You don't press anything. You come into the studio, and it automatically puts you on air. It automatically plays the Audible show open, and then you start speaking after the Audible show open. Any questions on starting the episode?
So, Russ, I think I'm doing my first episode on Thursday. I don't know how this is happening, but I just want to know, basically, like because I'm jumping right into this, and when I'm invited, do I need like my earphones? Like I don't know. I go for my computer. I'm streaming from my computer, correct?
Yes, so the direct connect, so you're a co-host tomorrow,
Yeah.
so somebody else will be the lead and will take care of all of this stuff that you're learning today. But obviously we want you to learn it today so that you can have your own solo show, be a lead on Life Coach Chat,
Oh, yeah.
etc. So as I mentioned, this invite guests and co-host feature is new. We'll talk about it tonight on the call. Invite guests, co-hosts.
Otherwise, we can just call right in, like do the guest call in and be on.
So yeah, for tomorrow's show, you can either do the guest call in or have Danica click this invite guest co-host and send you an email so that you can direct connect via your computer.
Wait, you keep saying tomorrow. Is it?
Or Thursday, sorry.
Okay, you're making me, I'm like, I'm not ready for this yet.
Sorry, yes, Thursday.
Okay, cool. Thursday.
Yeah, and your audio is quiet for this, but if your audio is quiet for the show connecting via your computer, then what I would do is just tell her to let you know that, and then you can dial in from your phone to that guest call-in. You may need to go in a separate room just to make sure there's not an echo, or put your computer on mute or something like that.
Okay.
All right. Any questions on being in the studio in the live broadcast? All right, so this is oh, go ahead, Renee, do you have a question? Say that again. Sorry, I took you off speaker. Yeah, all right, so let me just repeat your question for Antonina. The question was, because she's having issues with her muting an audio tonight, if there's anything different she should do. So this is actually a good question, a good answer for either of you. If ever you want to create a test episode and go in and see how it works, you can absolutely do that. Just put it as private. Pick a day on the calendar, and I'll show you the calendar shortly, where it is open, and go in and do a test episode. Another option, Renee, is to call in. You don't have to use the direct connect feature, so if you would rather use a phone line that has good reception, either a cell with good reception or a landline, and you can connect via that host call in the upper right and the host pin. So I didn't show you how to do that, but it's relatively easy. You dial the host call in, it'll ask you to enter the pin, and then you press 1. You're welcome. All right, so this is basically it in the studio. There are other things to do, like playing an audio clip. That is more of an exception type of thing, but if for whatever reason you ever need to pre-record maybe a segment with someone, like a 10-minute interview, you can pre-record it and then upload it here in the audio clips area. On the right-hand side, you would just click Upload Audio. You don't want to promote, as we talked about before, because it will link our station to your Facebook or Twitter. And I personally avoid the chat. It's a little bit hard as the host, speaking and listening and then also chatting. So I usually recommend as a best practice to just speak and listen, because we know as coaches, both of those things are super important. So if there aren't any more questions here on the live episode, I'm gonna end the episode. Any more questions before I end the episode? All right, so to end the episode, you just click on this big red button in the top middle, End Episode. Are you sure you want to end this episode?
Do they all have to be?
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Say that again, Antonina.
Do they all have to be 60+ minutes?
In terms of the length of the episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't all have to be 60+ minutes. It's possible that you could do a 30-minute show if you want to. Mm. An hour is kind of good. I think doing an hour appearance twice or 3 times a month is a good amount. Now, that doesn't mean some people just do 1 show a month. That's their prerogative. If you have a solo show, and it sounds like Renee's going to have a solo show, we'll get to the calendar momentarily. Usually the way it works is you have a regular time slot, like the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of the month at this time, or the 2nd and 4th Thursday at this time. If you do Life Coach Chats primarily, you go into the calendar and select your appearances up to 3 a month, and it's not as regular, but I would still say for the most part, an hour is best, but you can do a half hour if you want to.
This is exciting.
All right, so, go ahead. Say that again, Antonina.
No, I just said this is exciting.
I know, yes. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop sharing that part and take you to my Google Chrome, which is where I have the calendar. hang up the phone from our show. All right, so let me make sure the calendar is open. Okay. So let's see. Share screen. Just going to take you to Google Chrome. So the calendar is via Google Drive, and in case you've never used Google Drive before, you click on Google Apps in the upper right-hand part of your screen if you're in Gmail, and then you go down to Drive, and the LCRN's calendar, which I'm going to share with you at some point tonight or tomorrow. Calendar, share with R and A. Oh my gosh, those are my sister and my initials, Russ and April, Renee and Anthony. Love it. All right, so I'm going to click on Shared with Me. Now, I have a lot of things shared with me. If you don't use it much, this LCRN's 2015 monthly calendar will be the only one. And you can see on the first tab, it's contact info, the host email addresses. So if you ever need to get in touch with someone via a way other than Facebook, this is how to do it. You also go in here and just enter your own name and email address so people can get in touch with you. I'm going to click on July. So if we go to, oops, sorry, November, July. For whatever reason, sorry, July. There we go. Phew. All right. So you can see here's our July calendar. That Thursday, not tomorrow, is Danica as the lead and Talisha and Antonina as the co-hosts.
Okay.
So this calendar is probably the most confusing thing of the training. So I'm going to try and explain it as clearly as possible, but as you have questions, please feel free to ask. Remember what I said before about we can have one show per day on each of the 3 networks. So green is Life Coach Radio Network. So for each of the green, that's an LCRN episode. The bright blue is ILCR, International Life Coach Radio. And then the pink and the yellow are Life Coach Chat Channel. So if it's someone's regular show, it's in pink. Michael O'Brien is on the 1st and 3rd Friday of the month. The Holy Shift team is on the 1st and 3rd Monday of the month. Tamara is on the 1st and 3rd Tuesday, etc. And then the Life Coach chats are in yellow. They're in yellow when the entire team is identified. So once Antonina and Talisha raised their hand in the Facebook group yesterday, Danica went in here, put their names in, and then highlighted it in yellow. The next Life Coach chat opening is with Danica on the 15th, and the area is white because the co-hosts have not yet been identified. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, they're all white until confirmed, basically, but they're coming from the same channel.
Say that again, Antonina.
Sorry, my phone. Okay. You keep them white until you've confirmed your co-hosts.
Exactly.
Completely. Doesn't matter what network.
Exactly.
Okay. Unless you're doing a solo.
Exactly.
All right. Fair enough.
Perfect. So, as I understand it, Antonina, is your plan to do Life Coach chats for this first month, or solo shows, or a combination of both?
I want to try everything this month. I don't think I want to dive right into a solo show because I've never hosted my own radio show.
Okay.
So, but I've worked in radio and I enjoy speaking, so I'd rather try a chat, do Life Coach Radio Network, and kind of be a co-host for the next month, and then take it away. Who knows?
Perfect. So take a look at the calendar. The open slots are the 15th at noon, the 22nd at 2, the 29th at noon, and the 28th at 8. You're entitled to up to 3, so obviously you have the show Thursday, so you can pick a couple more.
Mhm.
And then Renee, let's go to you. As I understand it, do you want a solo show from the beginning?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you off speaker. So Antonina, give us a couple minutes here.
Okay.
So Renee, is there a particular day of the week that you would like to have your show, knowing that it's usually in every other week, or every other week, like first and third or second and fourth weeks kind of thing? We do, and Saturdays are wide open, as you can see on the calendar. Perfect. So given that today's Tuesday the 30th, what might work well is the second and fourth Saturday of the month. Number one, it would give you more time to prepare for Saturday the 11th. Number two, often Saturday holidays are the first Saturday of the month, 4th of July, Labor Day, etc. So this would reduce the need to have a show on a holiday weekend when people might not be listening. Excellent. What time do you want to go on the air? I think either of those, I think either of those would be good. So I'm just going to put you in now. Bear with me while I go back on speaker so I can type easier. Actually, I'm taking you off speaker, sorry. Renee Ellison solo show. I'm going to put you on Life Coach Chat channel, and then once I share this with you, you can figure out the time and enter the time. So I'm going to put in your July appearances on the 2nd and 4th Saturday. Oops. Actually, I want to edit, paste special, paste all. Perfect. So then once I share the calendar with you tomorrow, you would then come in here and put your shows in for August, September, October, etc. If you plan to be with us the rest of the year, for the rest of the year. That way nobody else grabs that spot. Any questions on that, Renee?
No questions at all.
Excellent. I love it.
I do, because I know you said in yellow was Life Coach Chat Radio, and then in pink.
Yes. So the way that works, Antonina, is a regular every other week show like Renee's is in pink on LCCC, and the Life Coach Chat episodes, which are just LCC, they are in yellow. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay.
All right, so now, Antonina, let's go to you. Of these open dates, the 15th, 22nd, 29th, and 28th, which do you want to sign up for?
Well, I wanna because I know I'm co-hosting with Danica. I'll do the Wednesday the 22nd at 2 p.m.
Perfect. And the cool part about co-host. The cool part about that is doing Life Coach Chats is you get to work with all different people.
Yeah.
Really cool to meet other hosts. You'll see we have this Wonder Twins Power Hour. That's with Danica and Jennifer Flynn. They met via the Life Coach Radio Networks doing Life Coach Chats together. So now they have their own once-a-month show together. Do you want a show with either Trina or Danica the last week in July?
Yeah. Wait, Trina is not. Okay, I don't know her.
She's the lead on, so there are different hosts who sign up as the lead. So Danica is one, Lisa Marie is one, Trina is one, Tamara is one.
Okay.
So she happens to be the lead on the one on the 28th, so you'd get to work with another, her and Jennifer.
Okay, that works, because then I've worked with 3 different people by the end of the month.
Which is very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. The 28th at 8 p.m.
Yep. So now I'm going to highlight this in yellow because there are 3 people identified.
Look at that. Fair enough. Done.
Awesome. All right. So this was actually the quickest we have ever been through the calendar. Again, I'm going to share it with you tomorrow. The way it works. So Renee, you're all set. You just have to come in and enter your appearances for August and onward. And Tanina, what you would do is maybe around July 15th or so, come into the August calendar and pick your appearances in August.
Okay, I'll make a note.
Yeah, if you want to make like a recurring entry on your calendar or something like that. And then when you're ready to start to have a solo show, just reach out to me and say, okay, I think I'm ready to dip my toe in the water.
Okay.
One other thing I want to mention to both of you, I get so many emails that the best way to reach me is via text. So my cell is what you called me on tonight, Renee. I just put it in the chat field here in the Google Hangout. So to get to the chat, you just scroll the blue thing on the side. It's 646-460-0475. I usually reply within a day via text. Unless like the first word is urgent, then I'll see that it's urgent. Sometimes emails take me a week or 2. I engaged with the 2 of you a lot via Facebook leading up to this because I didn't yet have your email in my contacts list, so it was just easier. But I usually try to avoid Facebook because I'm behind even more on Facebook. So feel free to text anytime. My phone is either always on silent or off, so you'll never disturb me.
Good to know.
Awesome. All right, so any questions on the calendar? All right, this was the quickest we've ever been through the calendar. I love it. Other things to train you on, how to invite your friends to your radio show. We talked about that. How to get your friends to like us on Facebook. So you can just go, let's see here. If you go to Life Coach Radio Network, you can just share this page. So copy in the to field, and then go to your page and share it as a status. I'm now a host on the Life Coach Radio Networks. Here's a link to join the thousands of others who have liked the page. And that's a great way to get additional exposure. We're up to almost 2,700 likes, which is amazing. So that's practically 2,700 people who are seeing the things that you'll share. While we're in here, I'm going to show you how to post as Life Coach Radio Networks. So certainly for Renee, now that you're a solo host, this is something that you would want to do before the show and after the show. So you would share the link. Be sure to tune in as one of our new hosts makes her debut, or tune in Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, Renee Ellison interviews so-and-so. So also tomorrow, I'll give you Facebook access to the Life Coach Radio Networks page as an editor. So to get there, you would click on this triangle in the upper right of your screen, and then scroll down to Use Facebook as Life Coach Radio Network. Now, do I want to leave this page? Yes, because I don't really want to post that, but it's certainly something you can. And then here in the status field, you would just update like it's your own personal status. So something like, be sure to tune in tomorrow night, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. And then you would copy in the link. So let's say I went to episodes and again got the link to, oops. Okay, you get the idea. You would copy the link in here and then just publish it. So again, you probably saw my post from yesterday. You want to post about your show before the show, whether the day before, a week before, an hour before. You can even do multiple, a week before and an hour before. And then at some point after the show, something such as, hey, did you miss our fascinating discussion with so-and-so on X? And then, here's the link to listen in case you missed it or something like that. Any questions on that? All right. Let's see what else. Oh, so one quick thing. Obviously, Renee, you have a background in TV. Antonina, because you don't, I'll just fill you in momentarily. So usually, assuming you want to have a solo show at some point, I would probably say a great first solo show is just you and your story. What you made in the introduction is great. How you became a coach, how you help people, what you're passionate about. When I had my first solo show, I also had a couple clients lined up to call in. So I spoke with each of them for maybe just 10 or 15 minutes, how we worked together, the questions I asked them, how being a client of mine changed their life, etc. So that's an excellent first show. And then subsequent shows after that, I would always think about, okay, who do I want as a guest? When do I want them on? Are they free that night? So I would always have a pipeline. People who have written a book, they're excellent guests, just like TV talk shows, somebody promoting their latest book or movie or whatever. So I had people who either I was peers with or maybe they were a little bit ahead of me in this industry we're in. I would have them on the show. They were happy to come on to talk about the book, and I was happy to have them as a guest. Often they would send me a copy of the book. I would read it beforehand, ask them questions from it, etc. Other times I would have a panel discussion. So maybe you have a few entrepreneurs who want to talk about being an entrepreneur and the challenges of it and the amazing benefits of it. So when you have a solo show, this goes for both of you, you are empowered to set the agenda and the structure as you see fit. You can have one guest, you can have multiple guests. I would say 3 is, if you have multiple guests, 3 of you is ideal, or 3 of them with you just as the moderator. So if it's an area of your expertise that you want to participate in, I would probably say you and either 1 or 2 guests. If it's something where you want to have a show on something you don't know about, then maybe you can have 3 guests and just be the moderator. With 4 people, it gets a little bit like, okay, people don't always have a chance to talk, and especially on radio, they're not seen, so they're not seen or heard. So usually 2 or 3 is a good total number of people. All right. So let me pause there. I trained you on a lot of stuff over the course of the last 90 minutes. What, if any, final questions do either of you have? I think you're both good.
Yeah, my only questions are just about the audience and the people, like who's following, who's listening.
Yeah, so the listeners are a combination of your peeps. In the case of Thursday's show, Danica and Talisha's followers, and then people who find us on Blog Talk Radio. So people come to Blog Talk Radio as if it's Google, and they just go to blogtalkradio.com, hit the search field, enter life coaching, entrepreneur, business. So it's kind of like Google, and that's why 80 to 90% of our listeners are via the archive. It's people that we don't know who are listening to us and finding out about us, which is really freaking cool.
Yeah. This is great.
Great. Renee, any last questions? Excellent. Perfect. I love it. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap us up then. It was so excellent meeting both of you. I'm going to cook and eat dinner in between now and our all hands call at 8. If you're able to join us, I think I invited you. It's all of the hosts just for us to get to know each other, knowledge share, etc. So the dial-in info is in the Facebook group. And I'll talk to you at 8 if you're free. Otherwise, like I said, just reach out to me via text as you have questions.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Nice meeting you, Renee. I look forward to connecting.
Woohoo. All right. Have a great night, everyone.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.